Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Oh man, right on at 8:01. What? Good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. We are live on YouTube and Twitch, and you can find me either place by searching for Likely Alien. And again, the show's called Justice's Waiting Room, and that we're really waiting on some justice because shit is fucked. So, good morning. Happy first Friday to you, aka Tuesday. For those keeping track at home, um, my new day off is Wednesday. I'm excited because I get to share my day off with my wife. Hope you're all having a great week so far. You are probably not having as good a week as I am because, like I said, I don't work tomorrow and just share my day off with my spouse. So, every day when we start the show, we listen to Edwin Starr's War. As a reminder, we're not at war, and we're also not like pro-war, right? Because here's the problem: when you start cheerleading conflict, you got to keep cheerleading conflict. Yeah, yeah. You thought, oh, what Russia's doing? They're the aggressor. They get whatever they can take. You know, it's a pirate's life for me. And then I don't know if you've noticed this, but Russia's gotten their ass kicked. So over and over and over again. And here's the worst part about that entire situation, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. Russia's own standing military is not on the front lines in Ukraine. The entirety of the Russian front is mercenary. That 1.1 million people that Vladimir Putin was willing to sacrifice on the doorstep of Ukraine, not his people. And he's not a veteran. He's not. He didn't serve in the military. He doesn't understand troop morale and shit like that. But he knows. Vladimir Putin knows if he were ever to activate his own standing military, they would revolt. So understand the only stability that Vladimir Putin has is that he is not tasking his standing military with the fight in Ukraine. That's the only thing keeping that country together. Eventually, they'll root out all of the people that have been supplying bodies to the front line in Ukraine, in Russia, for Russia, that are not Russian. Those things will stop. You're going to run out of people, brother. So, in my humble opinion, you're just going to run out of bodies, and quickly. Hey, I'm glad to see it. Hey, there's a half dozen people here. That means people survived the night, right? So hopefully not a surprise to anyone. Maybe a pain to you. Hopefully it's not a surprise though. That there was major weather on the east coast of the United States yesterday. A shocking amount of snow. Again, I'm always thinking about worst case scenarios. So I think this storm I was worried about. There was a line of rain and a line of snow, and right up against that line is going to be real rough for some people. It's going to be a little worse than snow. Now, 20 inches of snow is nothing to sniff at. So have a terrific Tuesday. Just sharing the show real quick while we finish up war. Hey, Bob. Hashtag JWR. for a little State of the Union. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. Free Palestine, Slava Ukraine. Fuck Donald Trump. And hopefully that starts a timer of about 40 minutes without actually saying that motherfucker's name again. Good luck, everybody. I think I'm gonna lean on saying that, getting it out of the way, and then being like, all right, let's not say it for another 40 minutes. Try not to talk about him because this is what that would be what he wants. Just so everyone understands, we know exactly what it is, and that we would just be like all the other media out there capitulating to this fucking thing. So the only other thing I'd ask you to do, I'm sharing a link on Facebook and on Twitter. I ain't using them fucking websites. They're awful, by the way. Okay? So here you go. Again, only thing I'd ever ask you to do. I only want to share this show with people smart enough to download Blue Sky. It's that simple. At some point, think about the intelligence level I'm asking for. I think it's a very low bar. Get the fuck off of Twitter. Get the fuck off of Facebook. Where are you gonna go? Reddit or Blue Sky? I I may not know much, right? Thanks, Zeke. I get tired of seeing people on TV that I could squash in an argument, and I'm not that smart. And when somebody says the Democratic Party needs to be more normal and they need to table identity politics because people are suffering, it's like you're trying to ignore the kind of people that are suffering. And the suffering is disproportionate, Gavin. The suffering disproportionately impacts people of color, women, children. And Gavin Newsom doesn't give a fuck about those people. Gavin Newsom likes you if you're a billionaire. And he is proud of being the home to America's billionaires. And I just wish he'd talk about fucking taxing them. And understand that the only reason that you and I think anything of Gavin Newsom is because he has a under 30-year-old social media manager that turned out to be like a 29-year-old Latina woman. So again, that little spirit, that little spark that you're picking up off of Gavin Newsom is because of a woman, because of a Latina woman that's his social media manager. And I want to continue to point out anti-homeless policy. You know the spikes under the bridge, the anti-homeless policy, the the bars on benches so they're only half good and you can't lay down on one. Yeah, that's the kind of shit Gavin Newsom does. Just to give you like a visual of that's who that person is. He's another one of them. He doesn't deserve to be president. Being a fucking tough guy don't mean shit. Policy. I just want to make sure we have that conversation. And I'm gonna pat myself on the back before we get into it here. I have no idea what we're about to read. One of the things I try not to do is make this shit my whole life. I don't want. I've never asked for it to be like a career, right? So I'm not gonna sit around and try to bake a show for you. Okay, that would be fake as fuck. Let's just take it from the top. And this is what you gotta be afraid of the rest of your life. The first story today is about how senior Russian officials claim Russian soldiers don't need visas to enter European countries. So what you can look forward to the rest of your life are defectors from the Russian military leaving and then going to do whatever the fuck a person that has no leadership does. And if you think they're going to take their rifle and their pistol and all their ammo and walk away from the military in Russia and go into another country and not use it, well, come on. Dmitry Medvedev, former Russian president and deputy chairman of the Security Council, has threatened Schengen countries in his usual provocative style, saying Russian soldiers do not need visas and can simply invade Europe. By the way, Dmitry Medvedev calls Kaja Kallas the blonde rat. Reuters is reporting the U.S. ambassador to France has been banned from meeting the French government. Charles Kushner has been banned from meeting members of the French government after not showing up at the Foreign Affairs Ministry earlier in the day where he had been summoned. Not a cool guy, definitely a cool name. He's one of those bad guys where you hear, my name is Dmitry Medvedev, and you're like, fuck, and he has a cool name too. This sucks. Kill him. Alright. Macron. French President Emmanuel Macron said that Russia's full scale of invasion of Ukraine has turned into a triple failure for Moscow. Remember who's in play. Vladimir Putin, former KGB, not a military veteran, and the Russian oligarchs. So think the stupid rich people, but in Russia. Not really good at war. That's not what they're good at. It has strengthened NATO, the very expansion Russia sought to prevent, galvanized Europeans it had hoped to weaken, and it laid bare the fragility of imperialism from another age. And I agree. You see, climate change is going to force people from their homes, and I think the countries that are the best. Why didn't anyone tell me I had a fuzzy? I think the countries that are the best at handling immigration are going to be the most well suited in the future. And what I mean by handling immigration is that you should just allow everyone that comes to your shores, process them, let them establish an identity and figure out if they have a criminal record, and like understand if somebody makes it to your land, it's kind of your job to figure who that is, because that could be like a wanted criminal from another country. So there is like a bare minimum threshold where it's like, who are you? What did you do? Okay, like, and then one of the things that I want to see in my lifetime are immigrants turned into citizens and allowed to have the full benefits of being an American, because I want to make the benefits of being an American citizen worth swimming here. And I mean it. I mean, I want people to be like, look, the American leadership is correct in that they squashed Citizens United, they got money out of fucking politics, right? They immediately drew down on a 1.5 trillion dollar military budget down to around a half a trillion, and it's for their military. That $1 trillion that you just saved could go to pay for people's education, housing, income, right? Your healthcare costs. That's $1 trillion fucking dollars right there. instead of going into some billionaire's pockets. And you know what pisses me off about that trillion fucking dollars that gets spent every year in the military industrial complex? The CEOs of those companies say they don't even need the money. We don't actually need that. So instead of giving us all healthcare, education, income, and housing, you're just padding rich people's pockets who will kill you. That's the problem. Is that these billionaire motherfuckers literally talk. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but a CEO was just talking about fentanyl laced feces getting shot out of a cannon at his detractors. Like he just like made that sentence up. I can't remember the guy's name. Sam Altman, another CEO, is the OpenAI CEO, right? Is giving a speech and he says uh, the cost of a data center is fine. Think about what it costs in terms of food and water and shelter to raise a human to be smart enough to work at that data center. Think about what it costs. And you're just like, oh my God, this is a person that would sacrifice all the other people around him so that he could survive, right? That's a level of narcissism that doesn't belong in power. At the expense of everyone else. No, no, that's not how that works at all. And unfortunately, they've gotten their way a lot in Russia. The super rich, super unempathetic people that don't give a fuck, and they've lost. This has been a massive loss. It continues to be a massive loss for Russia. So understand, being pro-Russia, you are cheering for a loser, and the worst kind of loser. You try to bully somebody and got your ass beat. All right, BBC reporting the ICC judges are hearing charges against ex-Philippine President Duterte. So to say Donald Trump would be too old, Duterte's 80. Just so everyone knows. Second time he said his name. And that's what it takes to become a billionaire. So if anybody wondered, what does it take to become a billionaire? You have to be willing to sacrifice everything that you know, everyone that you know. You have to have no values. You can only care about what makes you the most money. And you notice these people do not have healthy relationships with their spouses. They don't have a healthy relationship with their kids. When all you give a fuck about is money, buddy. Kremlin says Russia has not achieved all its goals in its war against Ukraine. Sounds like the Ukraine is goading Russia. And again, I think one of the things that we figured out a long time ago is Russia's military is not in this fight. So I think by continuing to stress the mercs, you end up getting the military into the fight, and then I think it stops fast. I mean, think about the people that have served with some honor in the Russian military that haven't been sent into an illegal conflict, that are just holding their fucking breath, hoping that their government does not send them into a fucking needless war. Now, imagine being in the US military. Sitting in the Middle East right now. Hoping you don't get sent into some fucking needless conflict. Why are we here? You'd be asking. Why are we here? How do I know? Because I worked with people that went to Iraq several times. And they said they frequently sat around and said, why are we here? What the fuck are we doing? Now, they were mostly doing security for Karma and Mahmadiyya, just, I believe, west and northwest of Iraq, of Baghdad. And their job was essentially security forces during the rebuilding of cities, making sure they don't sustain rocket attacks while they're trying to build a subway. Anyway, they just sat around, and lots of people died. Fourth anniversary of this war, President Zelensky marks the war anniversary, vowing to fight on. European Union nations had hoped to agree a fresh package of sanctions against Russia as well as a $90 billion euro loan for Ukraine, but Hungary, which maintains close ties with Moscow, on Monday had kept up its veto on both. I think that we need to go to majority rule. I don't think that one country should be able to stop what a bunch of other countries have decided what's good. Fuck all that shit. There's a reason to disband NATO is because they don't do anything. The Pink News is reporting that the Netherlands has appointed its first out gay and youngest prime minister, Rob Jetten, looking very young. We talked about this. He won in the October elections last year, dethroned the far-right Freedom Party. Best of luck to the Netherlands. It's fucking gross. Reuters is reporting that a romantic tryst led to the Mexican cartel leader's capture and death. Huh. A tip about a drug lord, Nemesio Ozaguera's romantic liaisons led Mexican authorities to the cartel leader's hideout in a small town of Jalisco state where he was killed. And how powerful is a cartel leader? 62 people died in the early raid on Ozaguera known as El Mencho and ensuing violence. 25 members of the National Guard military police and 34 suspected gang members as cartel loyalists set cars ablaze in 85 roadblocks in more than a dozen states. Ozaguera's death is a blow to the CJNG, a highly diversified criminal enterprise, and a victory for Mexico's government after pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump to crack down on the cartels. So, one of the things that it's very clear is that there is a network of cartels, a strong criminal network in Mexico. And it almost spells out why the president don't want none of that shit. I could just say it. He gonna get himself killed. Steve Witkoff is a fucking traitor. Here, here's where he said, Vladimir Putin's never been anything but kind to me. You fucking idiot. Jesus Christ. Russian soldiers tell the BBC they saw fellow troops executed on their commander's orders. It's crazy. Euronews. Here's a continuation on a story from earlier. The EU is accusing Hungary of disloyalty for vetoing a 90 billion euro loan to Ukraine. And the question is, are they going to fucking give them the loan anyway and say, fuck you, Hungary, and kick them out? Like, what the fuck? CNN reporting President Volodymyr Zelensky pleads to Trump, please stay on our side. Understand, recently, is it too much to ask for a little cartel violence? I don't think we want that. And remember, Donald Trump was recently associated with a $12 trillion deal with Russia, and that explains everything. I have no further fucking questions. Wait a minute, did you say it's now under 400 billion? That changes everything. That's not that much money. You see, I'm a simple man. Do you see how my attitude changed when I thought that Donald had agreed to like a $12 trillion deal with the Russians? Explains fucking everything. But when it turns out that that deal's worth less than 400 million, that's going to change some things. And what happened? What happened? Do you recall? Starlink got turned off in fucking Russia, right? And their drones no longer have that capability. And the war is now different. And within a week, by the way, within a week, Ukraine's out here pounding its chest. Russia is 0 for 4 on goals. In 4 years, they have not achieved their goals. Which coupled with over 1.1 million deaths, which is insanity. That's the travesty. The travesty is in the mismanagement of a war. And it's because the person at the very top in Russia, Vladimir Putin, he didn't serve in the military. He doesn't give a fuck. All he cares about is uh, exerting power. But that's not how that works. Euromaidan Press reports European leaders arrive in Kiev. So the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen arrived in Kiev for the 10th time since the start of the war. And another domino falls. Peter Mandelson has been released on bail after arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office based on information he passed to Epstein. So I think that justice is being served. It's just they're taking down a worldwide network of pedophiles, sex pests. It's just like AOC said. This is deeper than we could have ever imagined, and it's just going to take some time. Didn't she say that? I believe it. Panama has canceled the China-linked port deal and hands canal terminals to Maersk. That's Russia. Danish, sorry. Transferring interim operations of the ports to Danish shipping giant AP Moller Maersk and Swiss-based Mediterranean Shipping Company. The notice formalized a Supreme Court ruling last month that the concessions for the Balboa and Cristobal terminals near the Panama Port, which Panama Port Company and a subsidiary of C.K. Hutchison had held for more than 2 decades, were unconstitutional. Panama annulled key port contracts held by a subsidiary of Hong Kong-based CK Hutchison in its official gazette Monday. War? The war is started over this. Panama has canceled the contract with China and turned over the control of the Panama Canal to Moller Maersk, which is out of Switzerland. Sony is developing technology to trace the origin of AI made music while putting out AI made music. Um, I don't know what to do because I'm not. I have an artistic brain, I don't have artistic hands. Um, if I can motivate anyone, if anybody would like to create a piece of art and send it to me, I'll put it up on my wall behind me. And I want to encourage people to make stuff with your hands. Paint, draw, make pottery, make music, make wine, make stuff. Um, I don't I don't put anything into AI. I actually do not like it. Why? Because only people who want to work less use AI. And I don't want to work less. I'm trying to work more. Like do it on my own with a simple calculator. Let's just do that way. Cool. UK and Australia imposed the largest sanctions packages against Russia since 2022, targeting oil giant Transneft and their shadow fleet. Yeah. AOC is a reminder that you don't have to come from. I'm pretty sure she didn't like go to school for politics, and she was working as a waitress. I'm pretty. If I'm, I hate to speak on people without full information, but let's see. American politician activist served since 2019 as a U.S. rep for New York's 14th congressional district, member of the Democratic Party, elected in 2018. Youngest woman ever elected to Congress at 29. She has a BA from Boston. Reading. She's actually super fucking smart, by the way. Ah. Her father died of lung cancer in 2008. Graduated cum laude from Boston University with a bachelor's degree in international relations and economics. So it's not that she does not have education. Hmm. They always downplayed this. That's actually really important and impressive. I'm motivated. I fucking hate economics. But after college, she moved back to the Bronx and took a job as a bartender and waitress to help her mom. Dead ass. Worked as a bartender after I came home from the Marine Corps. And when I was in college, best job ever. Don't drink when you're sad. It's the only thing I'd tell you. It's when bad shit happens. All right. So this article is from a few days ago, but it's still pretty important. Mexico's Navy. And I'm not saying it make art to make money. Make art because if you don't, they're going to fill the halls with AI made schlop. And we're going to spend the rest of our lives everywhere we fucking go looking at AI generated art because it was the cheapest and most readily available. And it's just like, make stuff. Make stuff. Maybe it'll make some money one day. That's the way you gotta look at it. You just gotta do it. Like Nike. 4 tons of cocaine is a lot. So if you wonder why the regime's a little tired and lacking their typical pep, and this is what I'm afraid of. What keeps you up at night, Jared? SpaceX rocket Fireball linked to plume of polluting lithium. When a SpaceX rocket failure set the skies aflame over Western Europe last February, no one was sure if the debris was also polluting our atmosphere. No shit. Now, scientists are directly linking the uncontrolled rocket reentry to a plume of lithium measured than 100 kilometers above Earth. It is the first time researchers have drawn a direct link between a known piece of space debris crashing into Earth and its pollution levels. They warn that as SpaceX chief Elon Musk pledges to launch 1 million satellites in the coming years, this contamination could be the tip of the iceberg. Scientists were already investigating the problem of pollution from space debris when they realized the Space Nine Falcon had failed in flight. That's another spaceship crash. And this is because Elon Musk is not that intelligent. He's not Space Boy. He does not know what he's doing. Can't be crashing shuttles. It's so demoralizing. Please don't use Starlink. Please don't buy Teslas. Spain is going to declassify documents on a failed 1981 coup attempt. You know what I want for them? I want for them to continue to be super interested in going into space. And I want these over 50-year-old men, your Peter Thiels, your fucking Bezos, your Musk, to have the ego to go to space and die. That would be great. That would be fucking great. By the way, you want to know how bad the uptake in news is? One of my coworkers messaged me at work yesterday and said, I heard Mexico fell. I said, what? You mean the Mexican army killed El Mencho, the head of a drug cartel? And the cartels responded with acts of violence in like a dozen states in Mexico? I wouldn't call that Mexico falling. And do you see how the uptake in news is fucked? Yeah, yeah. As Mexico sends thousands of military in protection of Mexico. Armed Forces Minister says Russia's invasion of Ukraine shares similarities with the run-up to the Second World War. Al Carnes, a former Special Forces colonel in the Royal Marines. Oh, hey, this is really good news. United Media reporting um, Ukrainian drone strikes have taken out Russia's ability to produce Shahed drones. I don't know how much of their capability of producing these rocket powered, uh, at one point Starlink guided fucking drones. China is targeting Japanese companies over remilitarization. First seafood, then pandas, and now Japan's heavyweights. China's Commerce Ministry has banned selling dual use goods to a list of Japanese companies over worries of military use. China took action against 40 Japanese companies and entities on Tuesday, accusing them of helping enhance Japan's military capabilities. So, this is what happens when big countries are in power. They're hamstringing their enemy. I think the EU and NATO need new fucking rules. Majority rules. Not one country can derail a country's ability to protect itself. What the fuck? Reuters is reporting that an Italian region resists U.S. pressure to curb the use of Cuban doctors. What the fuck? Cuban doctors are essential to keeping local hospitals running in Italy's southern Calabria region, its governor told a senior U.S. diplomat on Monday. Jesus. Think about what the US is doing to Cuba. And what's crazy? What's crazy? Not our ally. Not happy about this. Not our ally, but cutting off the flow of fuel into Cuba means like the people are starving in the fucking streets with no lights. And then the US is pressuring an ally, don't hire their doctors. So keep the money away from even Cuban doctors. Something happened in Cuba. They are trying to effectively erase. God, this that feels genocidal, right? Am I fucked up? Am am I wrong? It feels really ugly to stop the flow of oil into Cuba, effectively starving their poor and disrupting commerce, but then also pressuring your ally countries don't hire their doctors, keeps their high income earners without a job. Not to hire. No, 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 no. It's a unusual and extraordinary threat. The problem is they don't want to pay people, so they got to hire people from other places. All right, it's been 45 minutes. I tried to say his name as little as possible. I promise. Every now and then, fuck Donald Trump, right? I'm trying not to devote the whole fucking show to him. So every day, about 45 minutes in, we say, shout out YG, rest in peace Nipsey Hussle. Grinding all my life, right? Zeke explaining it so I don't have to think any harder. Cuban oligarchs want the land. Noted. so they can so the billionaires can buy islands and have slaves and run by their own rules and not have to they don't want to follow the rules. That's why these islands exist. Most important story from the last 24 hours is that the US women's hockey team has declined Trump's State of the Union invite. I've been hearing some talk about Bondi and Savannah being friends. Savannah's husband has ties to the Epstein files. That explains why Nancy Guthrie got kidnapped. Remember how we said the other day how inappropriate it is that Kash Patel was partying with Team USA? Turns out he's receiving some backlash. Yeah, you find out who they're really bigoted against. Once you really get to know someone and you see them, God, they play the game so good. And then you find out, like me, like I said, I can't. It bothers me so much when someone has like a speaking role and they clearly have a fucking speech impediment. I'm like, pick a different job. Like, weren't you good at painting? Holy shit! What the fuck? And this person's like trying to teach me some shit. I'm like, what am I learning? Anyway, all mixed up in the hockey shit. Trump called the USA hockey team to congratulate them and made a disgusting joke about the women's team. Daily Beast reporting Trump melts down after his favorite general sounds the alarm on his war plotting. Through a Truth Social tantrum to shut down reports that his favorite general is urging caution on his plots against Iran. So remember, we're not at war. We're not at war in Venezuela. We're not at war in. Remember, Donald Trump said he was going to take action against the cartels in Mexico? Fuck happened? The fuck? Greenland. Are we at war in Greenland? Oh. Iran? What does that say? Taco. Oh my god. Talk about when art meets life, right? AOC slams Republican senator over mockery of her bartending work. Makes me 1,000 times more qualified to govern on behalf of working people. What? Why should working people vote for someone that disrespects people based on their vocation? As someone that has bartended the Kentucky Derby at the infield with the common folk, and I also wore a $1,200 suit and bartended up in the suites. I did that for years. Thousands of dollars I made. The money was the same. I made about 3 grand over the weekend work bartending, and it didn't matter if you were in the infield with the poor people or up in the suites. So just understand that there's zero incentive to want to be around like a higher class of people because they're cheap. People that have nothing will give you everything. People that have everything will give you nothing. Or the same that they would have given you when they were, my favorite thing as the bartender, people always assume, first of all, that you're a hardcore alcoholic. No, they always assume especially if you were working in the suites, how much better it must be up here in the air conditioning than down there. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Down there, it's $4.50 for a 24-ounce frozen fucking fruit punch. Drink one of them, try not to have a good time. You're drinking a fucking mint julep out of a Jim Beam bottle that was pre-fucking made for the Kentucky Derby because you motherfuckers are too lazy to stand here while I mince up the mint leaves and fucking put the sugar on it and then put the ice in it and then put the... Yeah, I know actually how to make a mint julep, and you motherfuckers are so lazy up here in the suites that they had to make it in a bottle so I could just pour it over ice for you because you didn't want to stand here while I made it. Anyway, that was my little rant about don't shit on bartenders. Because you don't want me to talk about the way rich people act about booze versus the way poor people act about booze. Okay, I'll do it. Rich people will buy the most expensive drink and babysit it. Poor people will buy whatever gets them drunk fastest, cheapest. One time I got to run security at this guy that owned a bunch of car dealerships. He owned 23 car dealerships. Not uh like used car lots. Like every brand of car in multiple states. I asked him like how much you make in a year and he's like 25. And in my head I'm like 25 what? Oh, million. 25 million. Like, oh my God. You make $25 million a year? And he's like, well, that's not my take home pay. Oh! And then he got really into um, not ketamine. I think it's like one of those gas station drugs. Is it K2? And he was like, yeah, it makes pretty good money. Not as much money as cars. And I was like, how much could you possibly make on K2? 17. And I was like, 17 what? Million. Last year? Yeah. And what are you doing with that? And he's like, well, you own the distribution rights and then you sell it to like gas stations. Gas stations sell it for you. Oh my God. And it sells? Yeah. Yeah. Most of the places that I have the shit distributed to, they're out when we resupply. Like, it's just not wildly illegal. And he's like, not in certain states. So, what lesson did we learn about being a capitalist and about being around someone that makes $25 million a fucking year? Do they need more? What did you say? Oh, they don't need a 1% of that. They don't even need 1% of that, right? What is it's $250,000? They don't even need 1% of that. Or 2.5 million. Sorry. 1% of 250 or 25 million. No, I'm lying. Still a quarter million. But imagine making that much money and thinking like I'm going to make more. It kind of tells you like money in the cash and the heart and the house and the businesses wasn't worth enough. It wasn't enough. It was never enough. You're never satisfied. Oh, well that can't be the answer then, can it? ICE agents are trained to discard constitutional rights, and that's the most no shit thing you've never heard in your life. No shit. Agents were trained to discard constitutional rights. FedEx has sued the U.S. government over tariffs. Hey, 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 hey. FBI told New York police to stand down after arresting Epstein. So it's clear to me that what Epstein did was reported to the FBI, and F- Epstein had connections to somebody at the FBI who protected him, and it's pretty clear who that is now, right? How is this tied to the Federalist? That's what I want to know. Oh yeah, Donald Trump said he's going to federalize the election process, nationalizing. Sorry, federalize, nationalize. He doesn't have the power of that. What year was that in? Are you talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Let's go look. Oh 09? 2019. Jeffrey Epstein arrested on July 6th, 2019. Five days later, federal authorities told New York detectives to stand down in their investigations to the child sex trafficker. Epstein died in prison in August that year. So, in 2019, Daily Beast is reporting the Trump Department of Justice email called for Epstein's death murder resurfaces. Email suggests Epstein's death may have been investigated as a murder long after officials declared he died by suicide. Good morning, everybody. Have a great Tuesday morning. I'm having a great day so far. Really am. The Netflix bosses have dismissed Donald Trump's attempt to have Susan Rice fired because he's a racist. Keep in mind, this Eileen Cannon, she's also the one that got his charges dropped. She's also the one that is preventing. Hold on. Here's what I noticed. It's not Jack Smith's Volume 2. So let's get some shit straight. A U.S. judge permanently barred the Justice Department on Monday from releasing a prosecutor's report on the criminal case accusing President Donald Trump of unlawfully retaining classified documents following his first term in office. So I guess it could be on Jack Smith's report on retaining documents, but it's like criminal charges because she dropped them. Smooth poisonous trees never light of day. Yeah. Hold on. This is gonna get turned over. Yeah, just read this article. Never mind. I take back what I said. It was absolutely Jack Smith's report. MAGA Senator Mike Lee. Where's this idiot from? Utah. Keep in mind, she is keeping that from a case where she got the charges dismissed. There has to be. The Hill says most of the U.S. is worse off compared to a year ago. The New Republic is exposing, the New Republic is exposing Howard Lutnick for even more lies about his Epstein ties, and that all rhymed. Yeah, well, he also was calling the cartel members attacking infrastructure in Mexico leftist. So this keeps happening, and it's just like ant smoking the reefer. Longtime Trump supporter's husband detained by ICE says President Trump ruined our life. No shit. Yeah, I think what I'm hearing the rumblings of is one of the Supreme Court justices is going to retire, and people are making plays to become Supreme Court justices. Yeah, there you go. Politico reporting Democrats are stiffening their message and are refusing to make 2024 mistakes in the wake of a tariff ruling. Republicans have stolen from you. NPR reporting the Justice Department withheld and removed some Epstein files related to Trump. No shit. The New Republic with an article titled The Real State of the Union. My favorite thing that Chicago does is name its snowplows. Abolish ICE is one of the new snowplow names. Yeah, 70% of the vote, by the way. Nutlick? What the fuck? Oh, by the way, the gunman shot dead in Mar-a-Lago was fixated on the Epstein files and was an avid Trump supporter. So you can imagine the education system has failed you. You have spent the bulk of your adult life being a Donald Trump fucking bootlicker. and the Epstein files start to come out, and it's readily apparent that you were willing to sacrifice your family and your friends and everything good in your life for that man, only to find out that he's a fucking pedophile. Yeah, you can imagine somebody having a psychotic break. And took what was it, a shotgun and a can of gasoline to Mar-a-Lago. Donnie wasn't even there. Just want to round out the dumbass. With not only did he die, but there wasn't even anyone there. And a lot of people are saying we're gonna get tariff checks, and that's a fucking no. You might get a tariff refund, but you are not getting a check from the amount of tariffs they catch. Yeah, it's kind of the way I look at it. I'll let somebody else watch it and give me the fucking Cliffs Notes. Fuck Donald Trump. Trump fantasizes about powerful, strong men wanting to kiss him at a bizarre press event. I want to make sure we point out Donald Trump's gay. Every strong gay person that I know has told me, oh, he's gay as fuck. Let that guide you. New Republic reporting the ICE chief lied to Congress about their training. Whistleblowers say ICE has slashed the amount of training and testing recruits must undergo. Even less training. You want to know what RFK Jr. did that was really fucking dumb? RFK Jr. said keto can cure schizophrenia. So now you're going to have a bunch of starving schizophrenics. Great. Great. Kristen Bobert has called on Tony Gonzalez to resign over an alleged affair. To resign or end his re-election campaign. Those are fucking tax refund checks. Yeah, yeah, the business has been rocky here in February for me in finance, and it's because buyers are liars, but they got their tax checks coming. I got my tax check. By the way, Kristi Noem completely made up a story about ICE deporting a cannibal, and also the Epstein files implicate cannibalism. So it's important that a man on a deportation flight tried to eat his own arms. Yeah, she made that shit up. The Daily Beast is reporting Democrats are running secret drills to work out how Donald Trump will try to sabotage the midterms. iNews reporting America is realizing that Trump is failing. Just look at the polls. And really, we are barreling towards uniparty. I really wonder what's going to happen if the Democrats take the House and the Senate. Like, are they going to be able to punish the president? Or is he just gonna die before the midterms? The New Yorker reporting James Tallarico puts his faith in Texas voters. I know there's a lot of people that are. By the way, Adam Schiff is now joining a growing group of Democrats who plan to boycott President Trump's State of the Union address 221 next Tuesday. So this article, okay. I was like, if this came out, what are they talking about next Tuesday? That's on me. Yeah. He said I want Jasmine Crockett. Here's the only thing about Jasmine Crockett. Anybody that says Israel has a right to exist, I take less seriously as a political candidate. And if the words out of your mouth aren't Israel's committing a genocide, I have very little interest in what you have to say otherwise. Does that make sense? Jasmine Crockett has said Israel has a right to exist. She has not said Israel's committed a genocide. And until she takes the Israel's right to exist out of her mouth and puts Israel's committed a genocide into her mouth, I'm not even going to say her name. I need to see her say Israel's committing a genocide and get back off on Israel's right to exist. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my adult life. I want to see her succeed, but I want her to see her not take APAC money and not start using the I have been co opted by the IDF language. And I don't know that Tallarico, other than isn't taking APAC money. Hey, remember when Donald Trump fired that national park ranger? Yeah, she's suing. Good for that. She hung a pride flag on a mountain and got fired. Oh, we can. People can change. That's what I'm calling for. You see, people are. Yeah, I want to see people change. I want to see people be challenged and changed. We deserve malleable leadership that understands the moment. So we can have people that have the correct answer to the questions because I don't think any of these things are that difficult to understand. I don't even think that's that complicated. But here's the full list of Epstein survivors attending the State of the Union. Yeah. The U.S. is sleepwalking into a war with Iran. Trump won't explain why. See? And until one of them breaks that and says, yeah, I need I need someone to call the what is happening in Gaza genocide, and I'll vote for them. I'll put my voice behind them. But until then, we're gonna get James Tallarico shoved down our throat until she takes a harder stance. Because if they're saying, think about this, and I'm just being real. If a white man and a black woman are saying the same things, who are you voting for? Who are Americans voting for? 55-45. Kamala Harris. So I need her to take a more aggressive stance. Mhm. Yep. And that's why they didn't vote for her because think about it. If we're both talking about affordability and accountability and we're both saying the same things And I hate to be like that. And they're not really saying that much different. They want the same things for us. Oh, what's going on in Israel? And they're both saying the same things. Are they that different as candidates then? Nope. And think about Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is pro Israel. So why do you think Democratic politicians don't say shit about Israel? Because Hillary Clinton's got her fucking nails in there. Hmm? It's Israel Gaza. I wasn't born yesterday. I went to Purdue for data analytics. Kamala Harris lost the 2024 US election because late in the election cycle she refused to call what was going on in Gaza a genocide. Full-throated. You deserve to lose. We deserve this. This is what happens. I have no fucking questions. I didn't work on her campaign. I'm not responsible for her. I voted for her. I caped for her. She failed. Finn. That's what it is. She failed. Yes, she did. Don't be delusional now. Understand, she did not call what was happening in Gaza a genocide, and she could have won. She could have been a decisive victor. She could have won this thing 60-40 if she'd have just done it. Just stop taking fucking AIPAC money and stop feeling fucking threatened. And that's the problem. The problem is that they're scared and they're fucking us over because they're scared. They're living their lives in fear. They're taking money they shouldn't and lining their pockets and protecting themselves because they're scared. That's why all this happened. And I want to see more on Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, yeah. She won. They cheated. She should have said what's happening in genocides at Gaza. Or what's happening in Gaza is genocide. Yeah. And I think they had to let it happen because of the rules. And I still believe there's a chance, should the Democrats take control of the House and Senate, that they turn it around. Will it be too late? I don't fucking know. That's insane work. That's a whole last 10, 12 months from now. But if you look at the data going into the election, she was primed to crush his ass. Crush his ass. I'll never forget it. It flipped overnight after her Dearborn appearance. All she had to do was say, Israel's committing genocide in Gaza. She wins this shit 60-40. Instead, they voted against her. It was a big story. Yes, he fucking cheated. Yeah, remember, we looked up, why would you cheat? Well, you would only really cheat in an election you expect to be close. That's like the closest election in history. So, of course, there was cheating. Apparently, Trump's terrified. Deeply unpopular president. But you have to admit, if you were on the fence about voting and you said, I'm either voting for Kamala Harris or no one, and I'm a single issue voter, and it's Gaza, I want to know how you feel about it. How many millions of people did she let down? Don't defend the. She's not a winner. She didn't win. She's not the president. Cheating happened. Shoulda won. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Hold the fucking phone. How many people in the United States were, I'm either voting for Kamala Harris or I'm not voting and I'm a single issue voter and it's Gaza? And if you say, There should be none of those people in this country. I think there should be 100 million of them. I think that there should be a whole lot of fucking people that were registered to vote. We're going to go vote. And she had an opportunity late and she failed. You have how you feel. I have how I feel. And mine's based on math. What's yours based on? That's how I really feel about it. Like, she was crushing him in the polls. She failed late. She fell. People were less likely to vote for her late in the election. With like 90 days left, I'm dead ass. They were saying this election will not be close. She's going to walk away with this, and it'll be a drubbing 70-30. But what I think happened, you know what I think happened? I think right before Christmas, the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris had to race back to the White House to view some documents in the Situation Room. And again, I will hang my hat on people in power don't move like that. So I want to know what happened. I want to know what happened that made them let him have it. That's what I feel like happened. After the meeting, right before Christmas, in my opinion, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were like, let him have it. Let him be the president. And I don't know if they didn't think a bunch of people were going to die. I don't know if that was their thought. I don't know who the political mastermind is that said we can thwart him at every possible point of attack. He can't get that much done. It won't do that much damage. Whoever sold that, whoever sold that to the prior regime oversold the fuck out of it. Like, they scared the shit out of the people in power into let them have it. Let them have it. And then one of the things that I remember, Kamala Harris asked, "Are you an Israeli spy?" And I think that it'll all come out in the wash. I think that a whole bunch of people are running for public office that are not pro-Israel, and they're all going to get elected. And I think you're going to find out in the near future who done it. I think in the light of his victory that they were managing loss. Scott Bessent says the $175 billion raised under the IEEPA is lost for the American people. So understand, we all lost over $1,200, $1,300 as a household, every single one of us last year, and we're not getting that money back. Just so you know, multiple people tied up with the regime are saying, yeah, no, we're not refunding anyone. Reason is also reporting Donald Trump's new tariffs are also probably illegal. And I'm not right. I don't have to be right. I'm just opinionated. Right? Well, remember, there was a precedent. Presidential candidates don't normally win after assassination attempts. It's seen as a sign of weakness. You don't vote for someone who's getting shot at speaking. So, Lauren Boebert said Tony Gonzalez should fucking step down, right? Here's why. Texts show A GOP rep asked for a sexy pic from a now deceased aide. In 2024, he texted a staffer, Regina Santos Aviles. She died last year after she set herself on fire. Her husband entered a depressive spiral after their marriage collapsed following his discovery of her relationship with Gonzalez. Yeah, he needs to probably step down. He probably needs to step down. Federal court has cleared the way for Utah's new congressional map to take effect, and it actually puts Democrats in a position to gain a House seat. And Democrats, anything you can do, I can do better. Yeah. By the way, Epstein buddies Mandelson and Prince Andrew and Andelson have both been arrested. These are Epstein buddies in the UK. LGBTQ nation. There is a rainbow laser display in St. Petersburg, Florida. Lit up the sky. lit up the sky with a rainbow display that could be seen for 60 miles. Sticking it to the fascists, right? Democrats are pushing for refunds after Supreme Court blocks Trump tariffs. So hey, here the Democrats are going to try to get you your money back. Way they see it, they owe us $1,300 a household. Vox reporting, how do you stop a brutal dictator? Protest. Blunt his legislation to defeat his party at the next. That's how you keep a democracy from failing. Here, I read the article for you, so you don't have to. A book written by a Notre Dame grad in 2022 that studied declining democracies that were backsliding into authoritarianism and fascism, and the only way to defeat it is to blunt their policy in the courtroom and defeat them at the polls. It's democracy for you. That's one of the things people don't understand. The people have to choose it overwhelmingly. Peter Attia has resigned from CBS after Epstein news backlash. Celebrity doctor, by the way. Been here about 90 minutes. Sorry for dawdling. So, man, people losing their jobs, huh? People getting arrested. Huh. How about this for haunting? Ruben Ray Martinez was killed by ICE last year, and a witness who saw their friend fatally shot by an immigration agent in Texas last year died in a car accident. So they killed the witness, too. And that is called Jump to Conclusions. I'm just kidding. A little bit of Eat the Rich, a little bit of weather. Let's get out of here. What do you say? Eat the Rich.
Wake up, kid. It's half past the youth. Ain't nothing ready to change it but the dates. You grand slammer, but you know, babe Ruth, you gotta say how to relate. I got all the answers. Lo and behold, you got the
I
right key,
keep
baby,
baby, but
but
the
the wrong
wrong key. Oh,
key.
73-mile-an-hour winds. That's the highlight.
And he's gonna help save the world.
Hurricane force winds in Wyoming, an atmospheric river and Midwest ice. Hurricane force winds, 159,000 without power in Massachusetts. An avalanche warning in Idaho. So we are going to have a day today, Tuesday. Make sure you stay connected to the weather. It's going to be some extreme weather events. Now, gonna
Breaking news from the National Weather Service. We have a new extreme cold watch for Seward and vicinity in Alaska. This means dangerously cold wind chills as low as 25 degrees could cause frostbite on exposed skin.
25 below zero in Alaska. Extreme cold warning. Here's the map. As you can see, it's a very active map today. And you can see the weather intensity meter in the upper right hand corner. It lets you know it's going to be wild and then it's going to cool down over the course of the day. But as you can see, it's probably better to talk about the states that don't have shit as opposed to, rain in Northern California, Southwest Oregon, Southeast Washington, turning into snow in Idaho, in Montana, and Wyoming, into Colorado, down into New Mexico, and in North Texas, and in Oklahoma, and southern Missouri. There's all the same system. And then I notice up in Minnesota and Wisconsin, there's a big snowstorm. Down in Jacksonville, Florida, it looks like frost, I'm thinking, like cold weather. What is a purple shit? Sleet in southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and then up into the northeast part of the country, so like eastern Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. Looks like there's a little bit of stuff going on. But if I really had to call it, it's hey, out west there's a big storm, and up north, big storm. Gonna be again active day today. Keep your head on a swivel. We'll see you tomorrow.